After 60, clutter doesn't crash into your life like a mess on the floor. It hums in the background. It's the quiet question every drawer asks, the extra step your body notices, the low-level noise that makes home feel heavier than it should. It isn't chaos anymore, it's constant interruption. In 2026, that pressure gets louder. Adult children encourage you to just get rid of it. YouTube promises total resets in a weekend. Speed is celebrated, comfort is ignored. And suddenly, you're being rushed through decisions that took a lifetime to build. That's where Cauldron Holt comes in. He's 68, a retired school facilities supervisor. He lives alone, thinks clearly, and moves just slowly enough to feel every unnecessary reach and every object that demands attention. His frustration wasn't clutter. It was being pushed to decide before he was ready. Cauldron realized most decluttering advice isn't wrong, it's mistimed. It ignores pace, dignity, and emotional readiness. This video isn't about doing more. It's about doing things differently, with respect for where you are now. Before we continue, if this feels familiar, like and subscribe to Wise Aging Seniors and tap the hype button. It helps senior voices rise. Cauldron followed a few simple rules, not the usual ones, and something unexpected happened. His home didn't just look lighter. It felt quieter. Rule 1. No deadlines, ever. Deadlines sound helpful on paper, but after 60, they often do the opposite of what they promise. Instead of creating motivation, they create resistance. The moment you tell yourself, I need to finish this by Friday, your shoulders tighten. Your breathing changes. Your mind quietly looks for a way out. What was supposed to bring relief suddenly feels like another demand competing for already limited energy. That reaction isn't weakness. It's awareness. Deadlines assume steady stamina, predictable focus, and emotional neutrality, things real life doesn't offer consistently anymore. Some mornings you wake up clear-headed and capable. Other days, your body moves slower or your mind feels full before noon. A rigid timeline ignores those natural shifts and quietly turns decluttering into a test you feel you're failing before you've even begun. This is why the first rule matters so much: no deadlines, ever. When you remove the clock, something subtle but powerful happens. Your nervous system settles. You stop bracing yourself. Decluttering stops being a task you avoid and becomes an open conversation you can return to when it feels right. Not today? That's fine. Tomorrow? Maybe. Next week? Still progress. Nothing is lost because you paused. Without deadlines, you begin to reconnect with your own rhythm. You might spend 10 calm minutes with one drawer and feel genuinely satisfied. You might touch nothing at all, yet gain clarity about what no longer fits your life. That still counts. Decluttering after 60 isn't about volume. It's about relief. If you end a session feeling calmer instead of drained, you're doing it right. Deadlines also bring guilt. You start strong, slow down, and then feel behind. You compare your pace to someone else's energy, someone else's house, someone else's life. Removing deadlines removes that comparison. You're no longer late. You're no longer slow. You're simply moving at a pace that respects your body, your memories, and your attention. Urgency tells you there's something wrong if you don't move fast. Calm tells you you're allowed to move honestly. And after 60, calm almost always wins in the long run. When there's no finish line chasing you, decisions become clearer. You stop asking, how quickly can I get this done? And start asking, does this still serve the life I'm living now? This rule gives you permission to trust yourself again. To stop performing productivity. To stop proving anything. Decluttering works best when it fits into your life instead of taking it over. Let me ask you something. How do deadlines make you feel? Do they energize you, or do they make you want to step away? Share your experience in the comments. Rule 2. If it interrupts your day, it's clutter, even if it's useful. For most of your life, the question has always been, do I need this? That question made sense when your energy was higher and your body recovered quickly from extra steps and small inconveniences. But after 60, that question starts missing the real problem. A better question, one that fits this stage of life, is much simpler and far more honest. Does this interrupt me? Many homes are filled with items that are technically useful, yet constantly get in the way. A chair that no one actually sits on because it's holding clothes or papers. A kitchen counter that has to be cleared before you can even make tea. A hallway table you must navigate around every single day. None of these things feel dramatic on their own. But they create friction, small, repeated interruptions that quietly drain your energy. After 60, clutter is rarely about volume. It's about effort. It's about how often your day is paused by moving things, stepping around things, bending for things, or remembering where things are. Each interruption might seem small, but your body and mind feel the total of them by the end of the day. This is why this rule matters so much. Something can still be useful and still be clutter. A stack of papers you might need. A tool you use once a year but step around every day. A decorative item that requires dusting, adjusting, or careful placement. These objects aren't bad, they're just no longer neutral. They cost you attention. Pay attention to how your day flows. Where do you hesitate? Where do you sigh before doing something simple? Where do you think, "I'll deal with that later," even though you deal with it every single day? Those moments are signals. They're your home telling you what no longer matches your pace. This rule isn't about stripping your home bare or chasing minimalism trends. It's about ease. About creating a space that supports you instead of asking things from you. When interruptions disappear, routines feel smoother. Cooking feels calmer. Sitting down feels easier. Even resting feels deeper. Try this gently. Don't start with a room. Start with one interruption. The next time something makes you stop, move it, or think twice, pause and notice it. Ask yourself if it earns its place in your daily flow. You don't have to decide immediately. Awareness alone begins to lighten the load. Minimalism focuses on having less. This rule focuses on living better. Less stopping. Less adjusting. Less negotiating with your own space. Let me ask you, what's one thing in your home that interrupts you every day, even though it's still useful? When you notice it, you've already begun decluttering in the way that matters most now. Rule 3. Stop organizing for emergencies that never come. For many seniors, clutter doesn't come from excess, it comes from readiness. Drawers filled just in case. Closets holding items for storms, surprise guests, illnesses, holidays, or situations that might happen someday. This habit didn't come from fear. It came from responsibility. You spent decades being prepared because people depended on you. But here's the 2026 reality no one talks about. Living in a constant state of readiness creates quiet anxiety. When your home is organized around emergencies that never arrive, your nervous system never fully rests. Every shelf becomes a reminder of what could go wrong. Every labeled bin whispers, "Stay alert." Cauldron didn't notice this at first. He thought he was being sensible. Extra supplies. Backup items. Things saved just in case something happens. But one afternoon, while moving a box he hadn't opened in years, he stopped and realized something uncomfortable. The box wasn't protecting him. It was reminding him to stay tense. Preparedness shouldn't steal peace. There's a difference between being capable and being constantly on guard. After 60, your strength isn't proven by how much you can handle, it's proven by how well you trust yourself to respond when needed. You don't need to rehearse emergencies every day to be resilient. You already are. This rule doesn't ask you to throw caution away. It asks you to notice what you're rehearsing emotionally. Ask yourself, am I keeping this because it truly serves my life now, or because it helps me feel temporarily in control of uncertainty? If it's the second, it may be costing you more than it gives. Many seniors organize for people who aren't coming, events that haven't been scheduled, or versions of life that no longer reflect how they live. Guest towels that haven't been touched in years. Extra seating kept for gatherings that now happen elsewhere. Supplies bought out of worry, not need. These items quietly hold you in the future instead of letting you rest in the present. Cauldron made a gentle shift. He kept what truly mattered for safety and comfort, and released what existed only to calm imagined scenarios. What surprised him wasn't loss. It was relief. His home felt less like a staging area and more like a place to exhale. Decluttering through this lens is an act of trust. Trust in your experience. Trust in your adaptability. Trust that if something does happen, you will meet it, just as you always have. You don't need to surround yourself with reminders of every possible what if to prove you're ready. Let me ask you this. Is there something in your home you're keeping for an emergency you've been preparing for far longer than you've been living? Noticing that is the first step toward choosing peace over constant readiness. Rule 4. Leave some spaces purposefully empty. This rule often feels uncomfortable at first, especially for people who spent years making sure every space was useful. Empty shelves used to mean something was missing. Empty surfaces felt unfinished. But after 60, empty space takes on a completely different role. It stops being waste and starts becoming rest. This isn't about getting rid of more things. It's about what your eyes and mind experience the moment you walk into a room. When every surface holds something, your attention is constantly being pulled. Even familiar items ask for quiet acknowledgement. Visual noise doesn't shout, it whispers all day long. Purposefully empty space gives your nervous system a place to land. Cauldron noticed this by accident. After clearing one small area and not filling it back in, he realized he was lingering there. Sitting longer. Thinking more clearly. The absence of objects didn't feel cold or lonely. It felt like permission. Permission to pause without explaining why. As we age, the brain becomes more sensitive to visual demand. Too many objects compete for attention, even when they are meaningful. An empty corner, a clear table edge, or a shelf with space around what remains creates something rare, mental quiet. Nothing is asking you to remember it, adjust it, dust it, or protect it. This rule challenges the idea that every space must earn its keep. In this season of life, space itself is useful. It allows your eyes to rest. It allows your body to move without caution. It allows your thoughts to arrive without being interrupted. Empty doesn't mean lonely. It doesn't mean sterile. It means intentional. It means you chose not to crowd yourself. Seniors often respond deeply to this because it creates a feeling many didn't know they were missing, relief without effort. Try this gently. Choose one small area, not a whole room. A section of a shelf. Part of a table. Clear it, and then resist the urge to replace what was there. Sit with it for a day or two. Notice how it feels when nothing is demanding your attention from that space. You may find that you breathe a little easier, that your home feels less watchful, that your thoughts slow down. This isn't about emptiness for its own sake. It's about giving yourself room to exist without constant stimulation. In a world that always asks for more, choosing a little intentional nothingness is an act of self-respect. And after 60, that calm is not something to fill, it's something to protect. Rule 5. Stop saving things for people who don't live there. Many homes quietly become storage units for people who no longer walk through the door every day. Items kept for adult children just in case. Extra dishes waiting for holidays that now happen elsewhere. Furniture saved for guests who visit once a year. None of this comes from obligation alone. It comes from love, identity, and a lifetime of putting others first. But over time, something subtle happens. Your home starts serving expectations instead of the person actually living there. Closets hold belongings meant for someone else's future. Cabinets are organized around gatherings that may never happen again in the same way. And slowly, without noticing, your own comfort moves to the background. Cauldron didn't realize how much of his space wasn't truly his until he asked himself one honest question: who am I keeping this for? The answer surprised him. It wasn't guests. It wasn't family. It was a version of himself who was always preparing, always accommodating, always making room. There is nothing wrong with caring about others. But there is something costly about shrinking your daily ease for people who don't live there. Your home is not a museum of readiness. It's not a waiting room for visits that may or may not come. It is where your life happens now. This rule isn't about cutting ties or letting go of family. It's about recognizing that love doesn't require storage. Relationships aren't strengthened by holding onto extra chairs, spare bedding, or boxes of someday items. They are strengthened by presence, comfort, and energy, things you protect by creating a home that supports you. Many seniors feel a quiet guilt when they consider letting go of these things. What if someone needs it? What if they come back for it? What if letting go feels like letting go of them? But here's the truth Cauldron came to understand. Keeping objects is not the same as keeping connection. When he began releasing items meant for other people's convenience, something shifted. His home felt more spacious, yes, but more importantly, it felt honest. Every room reflected how he actually lived, not how he once did or how others expected him to. Reclaiming your space is an act of self-respect. It says, "My comfort matters too." It allows your home to support your routines, your rest, and your peace, without apology. Let me ask you something gently. Is there an item in your home you're keeping for someone else's someday, even though it quietly burdens your today? If so, you're not alone. Noticing it is the first step toward letting your home serve the person who lives there now, you. Rule 6. If you haven't used it since your last birthday, question it. Birthdays mark time without judgment. They arrive quietly, without demanding productivity or change. That's why they make such a powerful reference point after 60. Not as a deadline. Not as a rule carved in stone. Simply as a gentle moment to pause and notice. This rule isn't about throwing things away. It's about asking an honest question. Have I reached for this since my last birthday? If the answer is no, nothing bad happens. You don't fail. You don't have to decide anything immediately. You just become aware. For seniors, awareness is far more effective than pressure. So much decluttering advice feels aggressive. It pushes quick decisions, bold purges, dramatic before and after moments. But that approach often creates guilt. Guilt for keeping things. Guilt for not being ready. Guilt for changing slowly. This rule removes all of that. It replaces urgency with reflection. Your birthday is emotionally neutral. It doesn't shout. It doesn't compare. It simply says, another year has passed. And within that year, life happened. You lived. You rested. You adapted. If an item didn't naturally re-enter your life during that time, it's worth wondering why. Not judging, wondering. Cauldron found this surprisingly calming. Instead of staring at shelves asking, "Do I still need all this?" he asked a softer question, "Has this had a place in my life recently?" Sometimes the answer revealed changing interests. Sometimes it revealed habits that had gently faded. Sometimes it revealed things kept out of identity rather than use. Questioning is not discarding. It's listening. This rule works because it respects memory without being trapped by it. It allows you to honor who you were while acknowledging who you are now. Items don't have to be bad to be finished. They don't have to be broken to be released. Some things simply complete their season quietly. Try this one slowly. As you move through your home, notice anything you haven't touched since your last birthday. Don't act yet. Just mentally mark it. See how many there are. Notice how it feels to recognize them without pressure. You may feel relief. You may feel clarity. You may even feel gratitude for what once mattered. That's the point. Decluttering becomes reflective instead of aggressive. Thoughtful instead of forceful. Kind instead of demanding. This rule doesn't rush you toward less. It guides you toward what still fits. And after 60, that kind of clarity is far more valuable than speed. Rule 7. Declutter at the speed of peace. This rule sits at the heart of wise aging seniors because it changes everything. Decluttering isn't about how much you can do in a day. It's about how you feel when you're done. After 60, the true measure of progress isn't speed, it's steadiness. For most of your life, productivity was rewarded. Faster meant better. More meant successful. But that mindset doesn't always translate well into this season. Your energy moves differently now. Your body gives clearer signals. Your priorities have shifted toward comfort, clarity, and calm. Decluttering at the speed of peace means listening to those signals instead of pushing past them. Cauldron reached a turning point when he stopped asking, "How much can I handle today?" and started asking, "How do I want to feel tonight?" That one change softened everything. He no longer pushed through fatigue just to finish something. He stopped forcing decisions when his mind felt full. And slowly, something unexpected happened. His home stopped asking things of him. There were fewer objects demanding attention. Fewer spaces that needed managing before he could rest. Fewer reminders of unfinished tasks waiting in the corners of his day. The house didn't pull at him anymore. It supported him. Decluttering at the speed of peace doesn't mean doing nothing. It means choosing moments that feel right. It might be 5 minutes after breakfast. It might be one small decision before bed. It might be a pause where you decide not to do anything at all. Each of those moments counts because they respect your limits instead of testing them. This approach also protects emotional energy. When you move too fast, you risk regret. When you slow down, you make decisions you can live with. Peaceful decluttering leaves you feeling settled instead of unsettled, grounded instead of drained. Slow progress is still progress. In many cases, it's better progress. It allows change to integrate into your life instead of disrupting it. It gives you time to notice what feels lighter, what feels easier, and what no longer fits without forcing conclusions. This rule invites you to stop chasing an ideal version of a decluttered home and start creating a livable one. A home that matches your pace. A home that gives back instead of taking. If there's one thing to remember, let it be this: you are not behind. You are not late. You are not failing because you move gently. Decluttering at the speed of peace is not a compromise. It's wisdom earned, and it's exactly right for this stage of life. The change doesn't arrive all at once. There's no dramatic reveal, no empty rooms, no picture-perfect finish. What shows up instead is something quieter. The house feels calmer. Mornings move more smoothly. You stop sighing before simple tasks. Nothing is shouting for your attention anymore. It isn't empty. It isn't perfect. It's simply easier to live in. That's the transformation most people miss when they talk about decluttering after 60. The goal was never to own less. It was to live with less interruption. Less stopping to move things. Less deciding before resting. Less managing your surroundings just to get through the day. When those small frictions disappear, your energy comes back in ways you can actually feel. These rules were never about trends or quick wins. They were comfort-first principles. No deadlines. No rushing. No organizing for imaginary futures or other people's expectations. Just choices that support how you live now, your pace, your body, your priorities. When you declutter this way, your home starts giving something back to you instead of quietly taking from you. You may notice you sit down more easily. You think more clearly. You feel less on edge without knowing exactly why. That's because your space is no longer interrupting you. It's allowing you to be present in it. Decluttering after 60 isn't about owning less, it's about being interrupted less. If this video resonated with you, please take a moment to support this channel. Tap like, subscribe to Wise Aging Seniors, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos made specifically for this stage of life. And before you go, let me show you how to use the hype button, because this is how senior voices reach more people. Step 1. Scroll down on your YouTube app and swipe left on the comment preview until you see the hype button. Step 2. Tap hype. Step 3. Choose how many points you want to give. Smaller creators get a bigger boost. Step 4. Confirm, and that's it. You get 3 free hypes every week, and every hype helps push this video higher so more people over 60 can find content that respects their pace and experience. If you hype often, you may even earn a Hype Star badge showing you're a top supporter of this community. Thank you for being here, and for choosing what truly supports you now. You're not behind. You're finally choosing what feels right.